Welcome to English Podcast. Subscribe our channel for more update.
Welcome to the deep dive. So glad you're joining us. Today we're tackling something, pretty fundamental. How we learn, and maybe more importantly, how we can get better at it faster, easier, maybe even enjoy it more. Okay, let's unpack this. So for this deep dive, we're drawing from some really interesting excerpts. They come from an episode of the SpeakUp Sessions English Podcast called 7 Habits for Faster English Learning. Now, our mission here isn't just about English. We want to pull out the core ideas, the real nuggets of wisdom from these habits, and show you how they apply to learning, pretty much anything you want to get good at quickly and effectively. The idea is to make learning feel, simple, maybe even fun, and just part of your daily routine.
Exactly. And that's what's key here. While, yes, the source focuses on English, the principles themselves, they're universal. We're not just talking about isolated tips. It's more like a system, a framework for creating better pathways in your brain, really optimizing how you soak up knowledge, no matter the topic.
That's the core of it, isn't it? And these 7 habits, they sound simple, but the claim is they're a kind of shortcut. A shortcut to being genuinely well-informed, maybe some aha moments coming up. Okay, here's where it gets really interesting. So, habit number 1, the source brings up, creating a dedicated study space. Seems straightforward, right? That's a special place. But what's actually happening in our brains with that?
It's tapping into a couple of powerful psychological ideas. There's something called context-dependent memory and stimulus control. Basically, think of it like this. You do something in the same place over and over. Your brain starts to link that place with that activity. So walk into your study spot and boom, your brain gets the signal. Okay, time to focus. It kind of cuts down the mental warm-up time.
Okay.
Yeah, it automates the shift into learning mode. Like, how smelling popcorn gets you ready for a movie?
Right.
Doesn't have to be fancy. Just a quiet desk, even a specific chair. The key is consistency and keeping distractions, TV, phone notifications away from that zone. It becomes a powerful cue.
That makes a lot of sense. Like you're conditioning yourself, creating a mental shortcut. Okay, so building on that idea of consistency, habit 2 is about setting a consistent study time. Is that a similar brain principle at work?
Absolutely. The source really stresses trying to study at the same time each day, even if it's short, like 15, 20 minutes. This gets into habit loops. And priming, when learning becomes predictable, say you always do it at 8 p.m., your brain and body actually start to anticipate it. That anticipation primes you, gets you ready mentally for the effort. It makes starting easier, sustaining focus easier. It's a bit like your internal body clock, one that tells you when you're hungry, you're sleepy, you're building a learning clock.
Okay, so we've got our space, we've got our time. But then there's the motivation factor, isn't there? It's so easy to set these huge, overwhelming goals when you start something new. But habit 3 flips that. It says, set small, easy goals. How does that help keep us going?
Oh, this one's critical. It's all about building self-efficacy, your belief in your ability to succeed, and getting that regular positive reinforcement. The source is really clear. Forget the giant goals like I'll be fluent next month. That just sets you up for feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, definitely been there.
Instead, focus on things you can do. The example given was, today I'll learn 3 new food words, or maybe I'll just listen to 1 song in English. They feel achievable, right? So when you actually do them, you get this little sense of accomplishment. That's a dopamine hit your brain's reward chemical, makes you feel good, makes you want to do it again tomorrow.
The power of small wins.
Exactly. It builds momentum and strengthens that belief. Hey, I could do this.
That's really smart. Building momentum with tiny victories. And speaking for myself, if something isn't enjoyable, it's just a slog. It's hard to stick with. So habit 4 speaks right to that. Make it fun. How does enjoyment actually boost the learning itself?
Well, fun taps directly into your intrinsic motivation. That's the drive that comes from within, just because you enjoy the activity itself. The source suggests finding ways to weave the learning into things you already love. Watch movies you'd watch anyway, but maybe with subtitles. Listen to music you genuinely like. Play word games if that's your thing.
Okay.
When you're having fun, your brain is literally more relaxed, more open, more receptive to new information. And again, you're getting those dopamine releases, which makes the experience more memorable and pleasurable.
Right.
It just stops feeling like a chore you have to do.
Yeah.
And you're naturally going to spend more time on something you enjoy. Learning shouldn't just be ticking boxes. It really should make you smile sometimes.
Couldn't agree more. Fun is the fuel. Okay, moving on to habit 5. This one feels crucial for actually keeping what you learn. Review often. We kind of all know we should review, but what's the science? Why is it so vital, especially for, that deeper understanding we're aiming for?
Yeah, this hits on 2 really core learning concepts. The forgetting curve and spaced repetition. Basically, the source points out if you learn something new today, you've got to revisit it fairly soon. Why? Because of the forgetting curve. It's just a natural process. We lose information quite quickly if we don't actively reinforce it.
It just evaporates.
Pretty much. So tools like flashcards are great for this quick review. You can do it almost anywhere, waiting in line, whatever. By reviewing consistently and spacing out those reviews over time, you're actively fighting that forgetting curve. You're strengthening the neural connections, pushing that info from fragile short-term memory into more robust long-term storage. It's about strategic interruption of the forgetting process.
Okay, so reviewing is like actively cementing the knowledge. Got it.
Yeah.
Now this next one, habit 6. This feels like a big mindset shift, especially if you're someone who gets tripped up by fear of failure. Be okay with mistakes. That sounds so liberating as a learner.
It really is. This is about shifting from what Carol Dweck calls a fixed mindset, where you think ability is static, to a growth mindset, where you see challenges as opportunities. The source puts it beautifully. Mistakes aren't failures. They're your friends.
Friends. Okay.
Yeah. They're proof you're actually trying. You're pushing your boundaries. And each mistake gives you specific feedback. Often it's a more memorable learning moment than just getting it right. Remember that anecdote, someone mixing up hungry and angry? A bit embarrassing maybe, but the correction probably stuck because the situation was unique.
Yeah, you wouldn't forget that one.
Exactly. Psychologists call these moments desirable difficulties. They feel harder, but they lead to deeper, more durable learning. Embracing this takes away that paralysis, that fear of looking silly, and encourages you to just jump in and try things.
That really is where the real learning happens, isn't it? By doing, not by aiming for a perfect first time. Okay, final habit number 7. And it's one I think many of us in this always-on world tend to neglect. Take breaks. Why is stepping away so important for actually absorbing things deeply?
Because your brain literally needs downtime to process and consolidate information. It's about managing cognitive load. The source specifically mentions the Pomodoro technique. Study focused for, say, 25 minutes, then take a short 5-minute break.
Right.
And crucially, what you do in that break matters. Get up, walk around, stretch, drink water. Don't just switch to scrolling on your phone.
Yeah.
That kind of short, non-demanding break allows your brain to switch modes. It goes from that intense, focused attention to a more relaxed, diffuse mode of thinking. And it's often in that diffuse mode that connections are made, insights occur, and information gets filed away properly in your long-term memory.
Interesting.
Yeah, it prevents burnout, keeps you fresh, and ultimately helps you learn and remember more effectively than just powering through for hours.
Okay, wow. So let's pull this all together. What does this all mean for you listening right now? We've walked through these 7 habits, all aimed at speeding up your learning. We started with the foundation, getting your environment right, that dedicated study space, that consistent time. Then we looked at the mindset pieces, setting those small, achievable goals to build momentum, and crucially, making the process enjoyable. And finally, the techniques for mastery and growth. Reviewing often to beat the forgetting curve, embracing mistakes as friends, and remembering to give your brain the breaks it needs to actually consolidate everything.
Mm-hmm. If you step back and look at the bigger picture, these aren't just isolated tricks for learning, say, English or coding or anything specific. They're really foundational practices for continuous learning, for personal growth across the board. The source highlights a few really important sort of meta points too, like reminding us that building habits takes time, it doesn't happen overnight.
Right, patience is key.
Definitely. And also the importance of being kind to yourself during that process. You'll slip up, you'll have off days. And viewing the whole thing as a journey, not a race. It's about steady progress, not instant perfection. Consistency, patience, self-compassion. That's the underlying message. And, this raises an important question, something maybe to think about after this. The source tells us mistakes in learning the subject, like mixing up words, are our friends, right? They show we're trying. They help us grow. Okay, so what about the mistakes we make in building these habits? What if you miss a study day, or you really struggle to make reviewing a routine? Is that also a friend? Could that slip up actually be an opportunity? A chance to learn something deeper about your own patterns, your own resilience, maybe about what journey, not a race, truly means when it comes to changing your own behavior.
Wow, that's a really powerful thought to sit with. Is the struggle with the habit itself also part of the learning? We really hope this deep dive gave you some actionable insights, maybe spark some new ideas for your own learning. Think about which habit really resonated, or maybe just one small thing you could try integrating this week. Thanks so much for joining us on this exploration. Keep diving deep, and we'll catch you next time.